This is the Washington Times front page for Tuesday, October 11th, 2022. Thanks for joining us. I'm George Gerbo. Russia launched its most sustained aerial attack since the first days of its 7-month invasion of Ukraine. Military reporter Mike Glenn reports Ukrainian officials said at least 11 people were killed and nearly 100 injured in the attacks, including 6 civilians killed in the capital of Kyiv. World leaders roundly denounced the attacks. President Biden condemned the utter brutality of the strikes on major urban areas. Ukrainian officials said that of 84 cruise missiles and 24 drones that Russia fired, Ukrainian forces managed to intercept and shoot down 56 of them. As many Ukrainians flee the terror in their homeland, the Department of Homeland Security is rushing to recruit volunteers from within its ranks to vet Americans who want to sponsor Ukrainians that are leaving. Stephen Dinan reports the volunteers are supposed to carry out the Biden administration's plan to welcome 100,000 Ukrainian migrants by connecting them with sponsors who have vowed to make sure the newcomers are financially supported. President Biden vowed to welcome Ukrainians with what's known as parole, a permit to live and work in the U.S., for 2 years. It's the same power used to bring 77,000 Afghans to the country during the Biden administration's chaotic airlift last year. But unlike the Afghans, the Ukrainians are supposed to be sponsored by a U.S. citizen or legal resident who commits to supporting them financially for the time that they're in America. Recreational marijuana is legal in 19 states, and the number could grow to nearly half of the nation after the midterms. Voters in Arkansas, Maryland, Missouri, North Dakota, and South Dakota all have cannabis-related measures on the ballot November 8th, national politics reporter Susan Ferricchio reports. Polling shows growing public support for legalizing cannabis use among adults, but also amid increased concern about youth access to the drug. The ballot initiatives are largely being pushed by pro-cannabis groups. President Biden, who has opposed legalizing marijuana use, sent a strong signal to the states last week when he pardoned more than 6,500 people convicted on federal charges related to simple marijuana possession. You can read all of these stories at WashingtonTimes.com/front page. You can also find the entire lineup of our news, commentary, and sports podcasts at WashingtonTimes.com/podcasts. A lawsuit filed by 2 state attorneys general claims that government officials across 13 federal agencies colluded with social media companies to silence online speech about topics the Biden administration didn't like. In a 164-page legal filing, Louisiana Attorney General Jeff Landry and Missouri Attorney General Eric Schmidt, both Republicans, claim an effort by the White House to pressure Facebook, Google, and other tech companies to suppress private speech that federal officials disfavor. Jeff Murdoch reports Landry and Schmidt claim the suppression of online speech violates the First Amendment rights of citizens in their respective states. And finally, Valerie Richardson looks at the increase of tensions between pro- and anti-abortion advocates in the wake of the Supreme Court's June 24th ruling in Dobbs v. Jackson Women's Health Center. Attacks on more than 70 anti-abortion pregnancy centers have occurred since the ruling. Meanwhile, pro-abortion advocates say abortion facilities are also being targeted. Based on preliminary data from its members, the National Abortion Federation has seen an increase in death threats against abortion providers. Find all of today's front page stories at WashingtonTimes.com/front page or on the Washington Times app, and find us wherever you get your podcasts. Just search Washington Times in any major podcast app. You can also find us on Twitter and Instagram at Wash Times for breaking news, sports, commentary, and more. For the Washington Times, I'm George Gerbo.